September 10, 2025. Orem, Utah. Inside a packed university auditorium, hundreds of students gather for what is supposed to be just another debate. On stage, Charlie Kirk, conservative firebrand activist, and one of the most polarizing figures in American politics. He's pacing the floor, microphone in hand, debating gun violence and mass shootings with a young student. His tone is sharp, defiant, unapologetic. Then a sound no one can mistake. A single gunshot. For a split second, silence. Then chaos. Screams. Students ducking for cover. Security racing to stage. And Charlie Kirk collapsing to ground. This wasn't just the assassination of a controversial political figure. It was a moment America's simmering tensions boiled over into open violence. And it left a nation asking, who was Charlie Kirk really? And what did his death mean for the future of American politics? To understand why this killing shook the country, we need to go back. Charles James Kirk was not born into privilege. He grew up in the Chicago suburbs, a sharp-minded boy with an unshakable belief in the promise of America. He was an Eagle Scout, a strong student, and by his teenage years, a budding activist. Kirk's political awakening came through books. Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell, economists and thinkers who argue for small government and free markets. He saw freedom not as an abstract idea, but as something that shaped the everyday lives of ordinary Americans. But his worldview wasn't shaped by victories. It was shaped by rejection. At 17, he applied to West Point, dreaming of a military career. But his application was denied. Kirk would later describe it as a moment that convinced him the system was broken, favoring identity and politics over merit. That rejection didn't stop him. It drove him. While many of his peers drifted through college, Kirk took a different path. He enrolled briefly at Harper College, but dropped out after just one semester. He believed classrooms weren't where America's future would be decided. The real battleground was the campus quad, the media stage, and the digital space. At just 18, Kirk co-founded Turning Point USA, a small idea sparked by a chance meeting with Bill Montgomery, a retired Tea Party activist. With Montgomery's backing, Kirk became the face of a youth-driven conservative movement. His mission was clear: fight what he saw as left-wing dominance on college campuses. At first, it seemed almost laughable. A teenager with a laptop and a dream, setting up prove me wrong tables in the middle of liberal universities. But it worked. Videos of Kirk debating flustered students went viral. His style was confrontational, his delivery quick and polished. Soon, he wasn't just another activist. He was a rising star. By the 2012 Republican National Convention, Kirk had secured major funding from wealthy Republican donors. Overnight, Turning Point USA became a national operation. Kirk wasn't just on campus anymore. He was on TV, on podcasts, on social media. And people, both supporters and critics, couldn't look away. Charlie Kirk's early career was marked by optimism, a belief in free markets and limited government. But over time, his tone changed. He grew sharper, angrier. He wasn't just debating policy anymore. He was waging war. His embrace of Donald Trump in 2016 marked a turning point. At first, Kirk was skeptical. But when he saw the energy of Trump's base, he aligned himself fully. By 2020, he wasn't just supporting Trump. He was defending him on national television, hosting youth rallies, and attacking critics with Trump-like ferocity. It worked. His profile exploded. His podcast became one of the most downloaded political shows in the country. His media empire expanded to streaming platforms, radio networks, even TikTok. He became a household name among conservatives and a lightning rod for liberals. But with influence came controversy. His comments on race, gender, and religion were not just provocative. They were incendiary. He dismissed white privilege as a racist myth. He condemned same-sex marriage as a national takeover of our laws. He called the LGBTQ movement the alphabet mafia. His rhetoric alienated millions, but also built a devoted base. By 2024, Kirk had rebranded himself as more than just an activist. He was now a Christian nationalist. His speeches framed politics not as a clash of ideas, but as a spiritual war. He claimed America was founded as a Christian nation and insisted it was time to reclaim it. This shift electrified evangelicals and cemented his status as one of the most important figures in modern conservatism. But it also raised the stakes. Kirk's debates were no longer spirited exchanges of ideas. They were confrontations charged with emotion, anger, and sometimes fear. Everywhere he went, protests followed, threats followed, and the line between political theater and physical danger grew thinner every day. And then came September 10th, 2025. The auditorium at Utah Valley University was buzzing with anticipation. Hundreds of students filled the seats, some eager to hear Kirk speak, others ready to challenge him. Security was tight, but the atmosphere was tense. Charlie Kirk took the stage with his trademark confidence. He paced, gestured, and responded to questions with sharp retorts. Then came a question about mass shootings, one of the most painful and divisive issues in America. His answer was combative, cynical. He downplayed the statistics, reframed the question. To his supporters, it was classic Kirk. To his critics, it was heartless. And then a single gunshot. The sound echoed through the hall. Students screamed and ducked under their chairs. Security lunged forward. Kirk collapsed, clutching his chest. For a brief moment, the cameras kept rolling. Cell phone videos flooded social media within minutes. The images were raw, shocking. The unthinkable had just happened, live on stage. Paramedics arrived within minutes. Kirk was rushed to Timpanogos Regional Hospital, but at 12:23 p.m., doctors pronounced him dead. The shooter was identified as Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old student with no prior record. He was arrested within 48 hours, but his motives were murky. Was it politics? Personal anger? Mental illness? Investigators combed through his life, his writings, his online presence. The answers were unsettlingly complex. But while law enforcement searched for clarity, the nation spiraled. News outlets replayed the shooting on a loop. Politicians issued statements of shock and outrage. And social media, already a battlefield, exploded into chaos. For Kirk supporters, his death was proof of everything he had warned about. They called him a martyr. They demanded vengeance. For his critics, the tragedy was a grim reminder of how violent America's politics had become. Some argue that Kirk's own rhetoric had fueled the very climate of rage that took his life. Within days, a memorial service was held at State Farm Stadium in Arizona. Nearly 100,000 people attended. The crowd included political leaders, celebrities, and Kirk's widow, Erica, who stunned the nation by publicly forgiving her husband's killer. But forgiveness did little to calm the storm. Online, far-right activists doxed and harassed critics of Kirk, claiming their words had contributed to the assassination. Employers were pressured to fire employees who mocked him. Even late-night comedian Jimmy Kimmel was suspended after making an offhand joke. The line between mourning and punishment blurred. Supporters called it justice. Critics called it hypocrisy. Kirk's death wasn't just a personal tragedy. It was a turning point. His legacy split the nation. For some, he was a fallen hero who gave his life for his beliefs. For others, he was a provocateur whose divisive rhetoric finally consumed him. In the end, the assassination of Charlie Kirk was more than just one man's death. It was a mirror held up to America, a nation divided, a nation where debates turn into battlegrounds and words become weapons. Was Charlie Kirk a martyr, a provocateur, or something in between? That question may never be answered. What's certain is that the shot fired in that Utah auditorium did more than end a life. It deepened the fault lines in American society, fault lines that may take generations to heal. If you found this story informative, give it a thumbs up, share it with others, and subscribe for more deep dives into true crime cases. Until next time, stay safe.